All right. Let's see, Larry, where did you go?
I'm still here.
You still there?
I'm
Okay.
here.
Well, I'm going to call this meeting to order, the October 2nd, 2021 Peninsulaires Board meeting. And so our first order of business is approval of the minutes, Paul's minutes from last month. Everybody have a chance to look at it?
Yep.
Okay. Do I hear a proposal to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second? Of Dave,
Third, fourth.
Dave and Dave, okay. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, they are approved. All right, the next order is reports. Treasurer's report. Dave Morley.
Not a whole lot. I sent out the treasurer's report. Not a lot to report. We have cabaret income of over $300, and that was as of bought a new battery for the speaker that Mike uses.
Dave, you're going in and out. I don't know. Are you on headphones or is it you're not on
No,
headphones, are you?
It's me.
Okay.
It's our internet that I just upgraded to a faster internet.
Well, that's good.
Spent some money to upgrade his internet.
Yeah, I spent money to upgrade and now I get a worse one. So I don't know. Anyway, I have to complain. Nothing to report really.
David, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
On the I guess the summary, you mentioned the $150 to the Elks. It said rent hall for cabaret. I think we gave them the $150 for the usage of the facilities for the picnic. I don't think we've given them the money for the cabaret just yet.
Oh,
Because we had that extra Saturday, right? We had the
Oh.
picnic on
Didn't
Saturday.
I-
You weren't able to be there, but we had to rent the facility.
I was there for a while.
Oh, that's right.
I thought I just gave you 150 for.
You gave me a check for $150 the
Okay.
week before the picnic.
Okay, I'll check that out. I'm not sure that that's correct.
Okay.
Because I think I've given them two checks, one for the picnic and one for the cabaret.
Well, you only gave one to me, so I don't know. You
I
may have
know.
given another one to someone directly.
I put one.
We lost your sound, Dave.
Oh, shoot.
Anyway, you just check that. I just noticed that, so I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay. Sorry, I've got to complain to AT&T.
I really think it's your speaker because you're on the speaker and using the microphone from your laptop as opposed to a headphones. That would be my guess.
The video
It's
froze
always-
also.
It's
Yeah.
always worked. It's always worked fine.
Until you upgraded.
Until I upgraded.
That'll teach you.
I
It
love
sounds like
those
the-
software guys.
It sounds like the classic, the upgrade is a downgrade.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they may be up
And
to
it costs
50
more.
megabits, but they're
And
lower
it costs
quality.
Yeah. That's why I was in the software business for so long. We had a good time.
That's great. Any other questions for Dave?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, Elliot.
Is there any sort of guideline? We are selling tickets for $20 a head. Do we have, going into this, any expectation of how much profit we want to make on each ticket? Because that'll help guide me in the budget. I mean, I don't expect it's going to be huge, but for example, we want to sort of over provision the ice creams. I want to make sure there are enough styrofoam cups and all sorts of.
Don't, I would not worry about that.
Okay.
I mean, any extra stuff you purchase, we'll have for next year.
Well, I'm not sure the ice cream would keep that long.
The ice cream not, but the cups and things like that.
All right.
And
okay,
don't
good.
worry, don't worry, because I've already spent more money than we can make on the show anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Money is no object. Got it.
Lighting and other stuff I've had to purchase. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
Elliot,
good.
have you seen all the merchandise that is in the shed in terms of cups and napkins and saucers and all that stuff?
No, I have not. I think
Okay,
it's
well,
time for me to
let's-
take a tour of the shed. I'm
let's
also
do that.
running low in
Let's
name
do
tag.
that Thursday. Let's do that Thursday.
Yeah,
Sounds
plus.
great. I'd like to
we'll-
see those ice buckets closer up. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
because
also,
it's going to take a bit of planning. I'm going to be putting on makeup on Saturday mornings. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be running out for dry ice and all this stuff.
Yeah, plus, Melinda and I have, we used to run the ice cream social, so we've got a lot of supplies in our garage.
Okay,
including
so
this-
yeah, let's talk.
Yeah,
And-
so we'll inventory that. So we have a lot of stuff.
Awesome. All right. Thanks.
Okay, so next would be, well, you're up, Elliot,
Oh,
chapter
oh,
development.
look at that. Don't know if people had a chance to look at the report, but I guess I'm reporting the obvious that our attendance has been way up as of late. And it's just amazing to watch it grow, like 2025. And then the week that VIH came, we had 33. The week after that, we had 38. And on Thursday, we had 35. So I think we're doing pretty well. As you know, VIH announced that they're interested in working with us, and so this is looking good. And I've got let's see, what do I say here? Yeah, so I've certainly got a good group of them who've been attending, the 3 rehearsals we've had so far pretty consistently. 2, 4, 6, between 6 and 8. They've also brought in some guests, and there are also there's Alan Takahashi, for example. I don't know if he was connected with that, or I know he's a Peninsulaires alumni. He showed up last week, and he does plan on returning, he said.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, although he doesn't think he'll be able to come very regularly. So we'll need to see what that looks like. Yeah, I've been reaching out on Bay Acapella. I managed to capture one guy who's come to 2 rehearsals in a row so far and is looking very promising. That's Shiv.
I was just about to say there's the really tall Indian guy who was really good
Right.
at tenor.
That's Shiv. Yeah, I'm ready. I wanted to speak with Mike. I think we should make him a candidate. He's pretty gung ho and capable, I think. So, last week from this past Thursday from Meetup, we had Drew join us as a bass, and he's. I've spoken with him since then. He just loved it. He hung around singing tags. He won't be back next week, but he does plan on coming back. And, I've been trying to I haven't gotten anyone yet through Nextdoor, but, and I probably should have brought it up at the business meeting last week. I could bring it up next week, but it would be nice if we can get people to volunteer to post in their neighborhoods, because directing it to the neighborhood, I think, gets a lot more attention than just putting it out on general, which is what I did the first time. And I can provide people with a photo and a blurb and everything they need to kind of get it up. So that's where we're at. I think we're on a roll, and I'm just hoping to see us maintain the momentum.
Thank you,
So,
Elliot.
Elliot, I got a question for you. Do we have any, do you have any updated information on some of those guys who have been on the sidelines, like Jay and Wooldridge and what's his name, Nigel, and we got a couple of guys. And I'm actually just looking at the list, but we don't. Fortunately, is not. We know what's happening with some of them. We know that Gene is not coming back, and we know that Daniel is up in San Francisco, and we know Jake is so busy he's not going to be able to come back. But we got a few of these guys that have been sort of either waiting for developments in COVID or have other things that were happening. Brian Coughlin is another one that comes to mind. Do you have any updates on these 4 or 5 guys?
I do have some. So every time I've spoken with Jay, and I've been reaching out to him like crazy, he always says, yes, I'm in, yes, I'll come, and he doesn't come. And I've been on his case for quite a while now, so I'm not sure what to do with him. Nigel, I know, has been a bit of his father-in-law has been ill. He's been recovering, and I reached out to him recently, haven't heard back. So I did send directed messages to a number of these people. Also, Dave Menestrina. What I did was I actually highlighted. I went through Mike's Larry's recording. And there was a segment where we were working on, it was like a couple of weeks ago, where we were working on Georgia. And like, over like about a 10-minute period, we improved our sound so immensely. We were in the circle. And so I kind of just took that kind of clip, put a pointer there, sent them a link, and I said, guys, you need to look at this. I sent individual messages to like Dave Menestrina, to Nigel, to Jay, so a number of these people. And I heard back from Dave Menestrina. He doesn't see himself, at least in the near term, coming back, because he just finds it hard to leave his family.
Okay.
What about Michael
John Wooldridge, I have been kind of delicate with. Maybe I should reach out to him. It was a similar situation to Jordan when I last spoke to him. It was a while ago. His wife was very ill, and
Right.
I don't know if you've been in touch with him at all.
I have not.
Gordon?
Who?
Michael Gordon. He used to be in VIH, I think, as well as Peninsulaires.
I had reached out to Michael Gordon. He's been to a few rehearsals since we started getting back together. I just don't think he's there.
I
No.
think he's more inclined to be at to want to sing at the level of Fog City than at the level of the Peninsulaires or VIH. That's my personal opinion.
I kind of got a bit of that.
Yeah, that sounds.
Well, when I spoke with him, so I'm not putting too much hope, and I'm also not pushing very hard. Oh, Brian Coughlin was the other person.
Yeah.
Sent that snippet link to, and haven't heard back from him.
Okay. Thank you.
Elliot, though, you're doing a fantastic job, corralling our would-be members and all. And so I appreciate you.
I'm trying. It's like herding
Yeah.
cats.
Yeah. Really,
Elliot,
The
could
ones who
you?
really want to be there are there.
Yeah.
It's just Jay that I find really puzzling. I gotta talk to him again and find out what's going on.
So Elliot, just one thing, if and this is kind of an aside, if you, they said the other day from Greg at VIH that there were likely 4 guys who are anticipating performing with us in the second half of the show. Do you happen to know who those are? And if so, could you just email me their names? That's all we need. I don't need to know who they are at the moment. Just if you know, send it to me. And if not, I'll check with Greg.
I don't know, I know, I didn't get to count the hands and see who it was. I would have recognized them. I'm pretty sure Danny's one of them, but yeah.
All right,
I'm
no,
not sure.
that's cool. Thank you.
All right, so moving along, Larry. Marketing.
We are, as far as marketing goes, we are moving along quite nicely. As you know, as I mentioned on Thursday, I'm pushing real hard to get guys to sell tickets, to do whatever they got to do. I did send out an email again yesterday to members that they can share with their contact lists. Elliot, you had mentioned or written to me a couple of weeks ago about your efforts to forward the email that I sent with the promo on it, and that you were able to figure out how to eliminate all the forwarding stuff ahead of time. I'd like
Yeah,
to,
at least using
we could take that offline, and maybe you can help me do it. I used to be able to just copy and paste, and maybe because of the size of it, I don't know why, but for some reason I can't even copy and paste. So yesterday's had like 3 forwards before you can
Right.
get to the information.
Yeah, it's hit or miss.
Okay.
I was able to do it with the Mac client. I'm not sure whether that carries over into Windows.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's out there. Usually we usually lose anywhere between 3 and 10 fans of the Peninsulaires that are on our MailChimp mail list. And I'm pleased to report that so far I've only gotten 3 notifications of unsubscribes, but I've gotten 6 new fans.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
I don't know if maybe, I don't know where the new ones are, how the new ones are coming or where they're coming from, but that's a positive move. We lose a few, we gain a few. Well, this time we're actually gaining some. So that's
I
a
may
good
be
thing.
one of them. I think when I bought my tickets online,
There you go.
I may have checked off the.
I don't remember. I wasn't around when this whole thing began, so I don't remember how we would get that information to the general public. I know that at shows we used to hand out little postcards to sign up for the mailing list. Might be something we want to try again, but it's good news. It's good news that that's coming along.
Larry, what's up with our Facebook page?
I update it all the time. I'm
Oh,
always
very
adding
cool.
stuff. It's weird. It's kind of weird in the sense that I'm not creating events per se. I'm creating new posts, and those new posts are what the promo is. Okay.
Mm.
And I've been trying to figure out a way to get it to the top of the page, except not at the very top, but below where the little slideshow of the chorus appears. Because if somebody visits our site, you really do have to scroll around. Unfortunately, you have to do some reading and looking. The information is there. It's just not at the top. And I don't know if boosting it like it would be an advertisement would change that. I see that people are looking at our page, but
So
I don't. Go ahead, John.
I have a comment on the page. When I search for Peninsulaires, Facebook does not come up with it. You have to search for the Peninsulaires.
I searched for Peninsulaires chorus and that came up.
Okay, and I didn't find it. So anyway, so the search criteria on Facebook is not very good for it. And if somebody might look into how we could get our search criteria to be better for the thing. The other thing is that I'm not allowed to post on it. So if I post and try to share, that's difficult. I think that we should probably look at that as well. There's some of the contacts that I have through my friendship with some of the virtual choirs, get lost because of that. So I think that those two issues, because I did try it the other day, and I managed to post your, your email information on PCVC, but, the others didn't work. So, all right.
So you were unable to share.
I think I shared with the, with PCVC.
Well, you couldn't share on your own Facebook account.
I didn't try that. Okay, I was kind of frustrated because I couldn't find it. So
Okay. I'll look into it. To address your first comment, making our Facebook page available for others to post on, that's not going to happen.
well, I don't want others to post on it. I want maybe the Peninsulaires to post on it.
We tried that test about 3 years ago, John, and it became a mess. So I had to shut it off.
Okay.
What happens is some of the algorithms in Facebook from your page, your site, would show up in the Peninsulaires. So we had to shut it back down so that it just focuses on the marketing aspect of the Peninsulaires, marketing and PR, letting people see what's going on with the chorus. As far as sharing a post, I share everyone that I've posted on our page. I share with my own without issue. So I'll have to look at that again to see if there's something else going on that stopped you from being able to share it.
And maybe, I don't have a question on this. I don't have a Facebook account, so I can't speak to doing anything with Facebook. But Larry, is it possible to then, if John's got things that are tied to the, the Peninsulaires chorus, whatever.
Virtual chorus.
Virtual chorus and some other stuff. If he's not in a position to directly post something, is there someone through whom he can funnel that? Can he send this, let's get this up, here's this image, here's this information, whatever it happens to be. Can it, there's maybe value in that, in expanding our reach through our Facebook page, by virtue of incorporating some of this other stuff that the chorus is doing, like fostering the community virtual chorus.
I think I know how I can do that.
Okay.
Because I get the posts from PCVC on my Facebook page, and that's because I liked their page. What I can do as the Peninsulaires admin is like their page, and then the PCVC information will start appearing on the Facebook page. How's that sound, John?
Yeah, that's good. The other thing is the link to the vocal capital is not on our Peninsulaires page.
It isn't?
It is not.
See?
So.
Oh, wait.
There's stuff. I mean, the singing Valentines. There's things that have been done that are not available on our page.
Okay, I'll look into it and fix it.
One other question, and again, I'm not a Facebook guy, but I know they have these groups and things like that. Is there any group that it makes sense for the Peninsulaires page to be a part of? Do we get any extended visibility by being part of a group?
That's a good question.
I'm wondering whether that could, in a way, parallel our meetup group, which, some people will find us on Meetup, maybe others don't use Meetup and will find us on Facebook. And if there was something that regularly showed our events and things like that, some area maybe that could help on the recruiting side.
So everybody probably knows that's on this meeting, but Mark Tavery's wife works for Facebook. So if there's anything we really need to know on how to do stuff with Facebook, I think we have an in.
Insider information.
Yes.
And I will be reaching out to Mark to go over some of these other things because not necessarily asking his wife to make changes or do anything over the top for us, but
letting us know how to do it would be
There,
helpful.
there may be some things like the meetup thing. I see the meetup thing as just creating a link to it, adding it to our website, adding it to our MailChimp, adding it to any sort of marketing that goes out. So it's a clickable link. Then of course, Meetup then has to have a homepage that represents. It just gives another view of what the course is about.
Yeah.
That's all easy enough. I've typically reached out to Mark with regards to boosting events. I try to stay away from the term event because for some reason when Facebook looks at an event as like a sale,
Oh, yeah.
close out 50% off, 40% off, Labor Day weekend sale. We're not selling a product per se, which is why I chose, excuse me, why I've chosen to use posts rather than events.
Yeah, on
Okay.
Meetup, we don't have a choice. Meetup's lingo is events, but
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I agree with you. But also for Mark's wife, things like, are you sure that the like, for example, is a direct path? Like it's certain to automatically include posts?
Yes.
Okay.
And I say that with confidence because, as I mentioned, I liked the PCVC page, and I saw 2 this morning. They get delivered to me because I liked their page. So if others liked our Facebook page, they would also get notifications of, hey, something's happening at the Peninsulaires.
Right. And by the way, maybe I'm a little out of turn here, but I do encourage people to look at our Meetup page, including the last photo I included, which I also included that photo in the report, and give me feedback. Let me know if you think that's a good way to represent us. I mean, I can show you that photo now.
I RSVP'd to every rehearsal and event that you posted into January. I gave up in
I
January.
noticed. Thank you for filling me in.
And this, so Dana, I'm going to mention something that was in that thing from Mike because I think it's relevant to Larry and to Elliot right at this point, and that is Mike C has been thinking about how in a couple of years, 18 months or so, the Peninsulaires are going to be celebrating their 75th anniversary. And so he's got this vision of being able to have 75 singers on the risers by the time we hit our 75th anniversary. So with that in mind, anything that we can do in our social media postings that really start spreading the word now to start getting folks to see us, hear us, be with us, etc., is going to be helpful because we know that stuff is going to happen. We've already had guys who have relocated that used to live here, and they've relocated and they're not singing with us anymore. We know guys who are VIH who would come sing with us that aren't going to be like Mike, Dave Kaufman, because he's moving up towards Sacramento, up to Elk Grove.
Oh.
So we're going to need to start this process, and you two guys are key to that. So.
By the
Yeah,
way,
good point.
the third thing was, I wouldn't necessarily include that in the promotion, but for us to reach a score of 75. So it would be 75 in 3 ways, right? Years, people, and score.
So, okay, I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Any other questions for me, guys?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
Dave?
John Wanless.
Dana, can I
Yeah.
answer a question from Dave Coker? By the way, I've switched to my motorhome happens to be in my front yard.
Oh, good.
It has better internet service than in. So I now have better internet. The answer to your question, Dave, is you were right. The $150 you gave me was for the picnic, and I have not paid yet for the cabaret.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Larry. So, John.
Okay, well, the program seems to be, Mike's handling that very well. I know that the music team gets together on Saturday morning and then publishes the schedule. So I've had hands off on that, and that's fine. Works out well. Seems to be scheduling correctly, and with it seems to work. So I've sort of hands off, and that's fine. The other thing, I guess, PCVC is wrapping up. Okay, most of the guys actually on this Zoom things are in it, which is really nice. And I know Harry's even submitted his audio tape. So I would encourage you to do that. I think that this is a long-term project, but my gut feel is that the more successful we are in this, the more community outreach we have, and the more people will know about us and like us. I think that it's a very good opportunity for us to service the community, and also to put our name before the community. And I think that will result in tickets, and also will result in eventually in members. So I think that's where we are, and that's probably about it. That's the only thing I really have to report on. So
Thank you, John.
Mhm.
Dave Cokerhook,
Yeah.
VP of Music and Program.
All righty. John, I'm going to make a comment to John Wallace just quickly, and that is, I think one of the things that we need to be doing is anytime this possibility of an external activity for the Peninsulaires comes forward, we need to get it funneled to you, John. This thing that kind of came up last week with from Mike Kading about, hey, let's do something on October 16th with this World Music Day, Song Day, whatever it is, just sort of came out of the blue. And I didn't think about it in timely enough manner to send it over to you. My mistake. I apologize for that. But I do think that we need to get all these things that are not directly related to our Thursday night activities that the Peninsulaires could participate in, needs to funnel through John Wanless, because those programmed activities need to be coordinated, and it should coordinate through you. That's my opinion. So just wanted to. All right. So my report I'd sent out via email. Are there any questions before I comment on anything? Okay. So I do want to highlight the first component just to make sure that everybody is thinking forward on this. We will very shortly not be able to comfortably rehearse outside. It's going to happen probably by the end of October. I think we'll be okay through the show, but the weather's going to turn colder. When we get to November, we go back to standard time. It's going to get dark at 5:30. All that kind of stuff is going to happen, and the weather patterns are going to change. We're going to need to go back indoors. That means that when we rehearse indoors, we're going to all need to wear our singers' masks, because though it's not mandated by the state or the county, the poll that we did a few weeks ago indicated that a full 50% of the membership would not be at all comfortable in rehearsing indoors if we weren't masked, which means that if we said we don't have to, those guys won't show up. So we're going to have to do it. Just as a heads up. So, and the other thing that's tied to that is Larry and I checked with our stock of singers' masks, and we have 12, I think, that are not just have not been given to anybody, and we've got a number of new members that looks like that are coming on board here, and we do have singers' masks for those people if they don't already have one of their own. And we all know the difference in trying to sing with the regular mask and the singer's mask. And it is vastly different and much superior with the singer's mask, even though in and of itself, it still creates that challenge of being able to have enough clean air. But it's better than the other stuff.
I guess I've never tried a singer's mask before. I guess next month, once I'm back, I'll have to, try one.
Much more comfortable, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much
It,
improved.
there's a little frame in it that keeps it off of the nose
Yeah,
and the mouth. So, so
Dave,
you're able.
may,
Yeah, so
Oh,
Dave,
Dave-
one other comment is when we go inside, performances will be inside. And so we'll have that challenge of doing performances with mask on.
That's true.
And so
That's
that
true.
that may
Yep.
or may not work for performance. I mean, how we can't express to our,
No, it's tough.
Yeah,
We won't
so-
have to worry about that for the October 23rd show. But if we
That's
do this
outdoors.
thing for the Elks at Veterans Day, you know, yeah, it's just stuff we have to deal with. And we did that one event with our masks on for the senior center back in July, so we know it's doable.
Yeah.
Mr. Morley has a question or a comment.
it might be interesting to do the poll again in November, because now that boosters are coming out,
And the cases are way
it
down.
might change some of our feelings about it.
Good.
Hmm.
Yep. Thank you. That's a good point.
And sorry.
Go
Go ahead,
ahead, Matt.
Matt.
You were
Yeah.
up first.
One other thing I was just thinking, so actually there's a barbershop group out here in Virginia that sings at First Fridays. There's a Leesburg First Fridays here. And I know back there's like Los Altos First Fridays and stuff. And, you know, there's like quartets or a small group of VLQs or something that go and, you know, branch off and sing at these First Friday events. And those are all outdoors, like along the streets.
Yep.
And I don't know if like Peninsulaires has ever done a First Friday kind of thing.
Yeah, my quartet does First Friday Los Altos every month. So,
Oh, cool.
so we do have some representation there, but you're right. There are others. I know there's one in Saratoga. I think it is either Saratoga or Los Gatos has a First Friday. And there are other communities that do something similar, but this is the one in Los Altos is the only one of which I am currently aware that the only one I know that we send somebody to.
Yeah, I think that'd
Larry.
be something fun to do, you know, because, you know, just since yesterday was
Yeah.
First Friday and here in Leesburg, you know, it's like, we should do something like that, you know.
Absolutely. Great. Totally agreed.
That'd be cool. And that's a way to kind of get the name out there too. And maybe, you know, that's actually how I discovered Old Dominion here, was actually through a First Friday event.
Ah, cool. Yes,
Um,
Larry.
We're planning our next 3 rehearsals in the back in the patio.
Correct.
I'm a little worried about that
Because
because of the neighbors, the folks that are there in the RV park. Part of the reason we moved to the front of the building was so that we wouldn't disturb them. How are we gonna get away with that without disturbing them?
I think they're just going to have to bear with us for a couple of weeks. I don't
Okay.
think it'll be a big deal. Letha doesn't think it's a problem.
Oh, you
So,
talked to her about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking maybe we ought to let the folks at the Elks notify their neighbors there that
Yeah.
we're gonna be entertaining them for the next 3 Thursdays until
Right.
10:15.
Maybe we should charge them.
Hey, there you go.
Charge admission. It's free entertainment. Otherwise.
So there
So that-
may be a noise issue. Right? In Palo Alto, if you're fine before 10 p.m. And so I guess my inclination would be to check with the city, because you are allowed to have, you know, based on your use permit, parties and things as long as it's before 10 p.m. So
Yeah, that's
if
worth checking.
if that's something could be checked on, then we at least would, you know, when the police show up, we would have some backup. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
The other thing about that, the Elks facility happens to be located in an industrial part of Sunnyvale and not a residential part of Sunnyvale.
That's
So,
good. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Anything more,
Anything
Dave?
else for me? That's all I got.
Okay, well, that completes our regular reports. Do I hear a motion to accept the reports?
So move.
Okay. A second? Elliot? All in favor, raise your hand. All right. The reports are accepted. Going on to new business, the first thing is VIH integration. And as you heard from Greg on Thursday, the VIH guys overwhelmingly approved joining us. And so that's fantastic. Greg sent a note afterward, after their meeting, and said that basically 4 guys were going to join our second half of our show. 4 guys had some scheduling conflicts, and 4 are kind of still waiting for COVID to resolve. So there's about 12 guys that are included.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, and then Rich Postal, who's our VP of the district, he chatted with me on Thursday, and he said for us not to worry about the legal stuff, administrative stuff for closing down the chapter VIH, and that all we had to do was to accept the VIH guys that want to join us. And I checked with Barbershop Harmony guys, and they say, yeah, what each VIH guy has to do is to go to the VHS and ask to be transferred into Peninsulaires. What Rich said was, that's not necessary. They don't have to transfer. That what will happen is VIH membership will lapse, but they'll still be in VIH, those guys, until that time. But they'll also be in Peninsulaires, so they'll have dual membership, if you will.
Wouldn't they have to somewhere, sometime
Yes.
indicate that they're part of a particular chorus, whether it's Peninsulaires or VIH, or what's that roving Joe Dokes chorus? You know, you're just a member at large in the society.
Doing.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah, you gotta doesn't you have to identify yourself as with some group?
Yeah, well, that's what I think the VHS guy says that they should do. They should go and request to be a member of Peninsulaires, to move their membership there.
I would be inclined to think that we would want to follow the guidance of headquarters.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
think
that has
doing
to be
it
worked
the
out.
official.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be worked out with Rich.
I
It's
remember someone that we signed up within the past year had to mark us as a second, like they already belonged to a chorus and they had to add on some increment or something.
That
So I think
implies
there is
that,
a consequence to.
that implies that their old chapter still exists. Yeah, I think in this case, they actually need to transfer. And I think it's, Dana, you just said a super distinction. The individual members are joining, not VIH is joining us. It's the individual members are joining Peninsulaires. So we're not merging. The individual members are joining Peninsulaires.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
There will be some legal stuff that has to happen because you've got 2 established entities that are recognized in the state of California as 501c3 entities, blah, blah, blah. One of them is going to go away. And what do you do with the assets? There's all that kind of stuff. But the members, I think, if we get the transfer thing worked out, just do this. And then that just means that we can deal with all that stuff having to do with those structured entities at a pace that is at our level. We don't have to try to accelerate something.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
So just to make sure I understand it, the process then would be to transfer, given that VIH still exists as an entity. So someone becoming a member of Peninsulaires would replace their membership at VIH. And once VIH ceases to be an organization, that becomes moot and they're just joining the Peninsulaires. Is that?
They just would have already joined the Peninsulaires.
So
The
Yeah.
VIH
they're
could show as
transferring-
an entity with no members. That's okay. Yes.
Right, but if they're transferring, that means that they are leaving
Yes,
VIH and
Yes.
joining, okay.
yes.
John, what?
So I like somebody's suggestion, I think it was Dave Morley, is all we have to do is ask VHS what we do.
exactly.
And just do what they say. All right.
Yeah.
So the legalities, the who does what, how it happens and stuff like that, just ask them. Don't figure out in our board what we're supposed to do, because that might be wrong. All right.
Yeah,
Well-
I think it would be good to know what the official correct process is, and then
Yeah, and so
communicate
we
that
have
with
that.
everybody. Like if we all have to log in and do something, what are the steps?
Dave,
So
Correct.
I don't know that the rest of the board had the opportunity to see these pieces of information, but Dana has already had conversations with the appropriate parties at the headquarters and the BHS team. And there are two avenues of approach. If the two structured organizations merge, there is a process that has to occur with the boards of each organization, and then a meeting of the members and a vote of this and a doing of that. And there's a very specific step-by-step process. That's one thing. The other thing is members can join another course. They can transfer their membership. Okay. Now, that's an individual's thing. And then there's the entities thing. And the entities thing does have stuff that will have to occur, whether the entity has 50 members or 2 members. Okay. And what we're suggesting here is that the entities thing will have to occur, but we don't want to delay the opportunity for getting the individuals integrated into the Peninsulaires just by virtue of that, because the members of the VIH met separately and said, look, we just want to sing. They voted, I think there was like 12 guys that were there, and they voted 11-1 to just transfer to the Peninsulaires. That's the intent of the members. So there's no reason for us to not accept that, in my mind, but that's
Right, so from my perspective, that's how we would be proceeding. It's a transfer, but assuming I'm the one that's gonna kind of help make that happen and make sure people are doing the right thing, I would then approach BHS and say, what exactly is the process for someone?
a member to transfer.
From one chorus to another, because we have a number of people who would like to transfer to our, and ignore whether or not
Yes.
VIH is coming to an end or at what point it is.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, we already have that feedback from the guy at BHS. I'll forward you the email that we got from him. And it
Okay.
tells us exactly what to do.
Now, the other thing that
Just-
would happen is, I imagine we would need to have a board meeting at which we decide they become members, and only then can they transfer. Or is that not the case?
Well, we can decide that here, actually. We can decide whether to accept them without going through the normal process with new members.
And
Or we
without
have to,
naming them? I
no,
mean, can we
without
decide
the,
that?
the three rehearsals and an audition and then a vote.
We need to have names, but we don't need to have. And we can do that either today or we can have a special meeting of the board.
Okay, because I don't know if we have those names yet, or do we? Did someone get those names from Greg?
No, not yet.
Okay, so then it's premature to vote on it.
Well, on the individuals, but the process we could vote on. Right?
I don't know if you need to vote on the process, but
Yes, we could vote on bypassing our normal
Right.
procedure for audition,
right.
candidacy. Blah, blah. I think we could vote on that. And then once we get
Yeah.
names, we could have a simple vote of, John, Pete, Joe, and Bill.
Yeah,
Do you
good
approve
point, Larry.
this?
Good point.
Okay, well, why don't we do that? So we'll make-
Dana, I think John Wanless had a thought or a comment or something. He had his hand up for a while.
John,
No, yeah, so that's okay. I think that you're allowed to be, well, I know you're allowed to become a dual member at any time. So instead of using the word transfer, I would say just make them members of the Peninsulaires, and if it winds up being a dual membership because there's another entity that exists, then you're covered. I think that was my opinion. I know that when you go to contest and when you're officially on a BHS event, you can be a dual or triple membership if you want.
But John, yes, you can be a dual member, but then you end up paying the membership fee in each chapter.
Right.
They're not going to want
Increment.
Well, that's true, except that the entity would then not exist. The point is don't
So-
delay it because the entity still exists,
right?
Well, I don't know. To me, it just seems that as long as the entity exists, we want it to be a transfer. And if
Exactly.
the entity ceases to exist, then they're just joining.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Transfer is the easiest way.
Yeah, I think so too, because we don't know when it's going to cease to
Right.
exist.
Hmm.
And we don't want them to have to incur additional charges. We want them to be leaving VIH, right? I mean, to join us.
Yes.
Well, okay, so what do we need to vote on today to make the process clear?
Larry, do you want to state your motion?
I move that we bypass the standard protocol for new membership, audition, candidacy, board vote to just hold a separate board meeting soon, once we have the names, and we can vote on the new members transferring into our course.
Or
From-
VIH
from
member.
From VIH.
From
From
VIH,
From VIH.
yes.
Seconded.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Do we have any discussion about that though, before we vote? Just to see if anybody has any comment?
I just have one comment.
Make it clear, what was the motion again? It's just the motion is to have a vote?
No, the motion is to
Waive.
bypass our standard member protocol candidate, be there for so many weeks, board vote, to a simple board vote of incoming VIH members.
And I guess that would be dependent on two things. One is identifying those members. And two, I would think that as part of that discussion with each individual, we would explain to them that they will be transferring, that as a result of this, they will be transferring membership from VIH to the
Yes.
Peninsulaires.
Yeah,
So
that's
that-
not, that doesn't need to be part of the motion.
No,
Right.
That's
okay.
an activity that needs to occur by virtue of the motion.
So if we pass this, then that means they are members, or no, that just.
No,
We can,
That means that we will have a board vote for membership, but without them needing to go through 3 weeks of candidacy.
So this vote is to have a vote.
This vote is to bypass our standard operating procedure.
But it's not, it doesn't actually make them members. It means
No.
we can
No.
go ahead and
No.
vote. on-
That's correct.
We're just voting to bypass the candidacy period.
Okay.
Any
Yes,
more
Larry.
Larry,
Quick question, comment. Has anybody auditioned this Matthew Blum guy?
He's already a member.
okay, so are we ready for a vote? I think we
Yes.
are. So all in favor, raise your hand. All right, that is passed. Okay, the other thing I wanted to discuss was actually what came up on Thursday night. One of the VIH guys asked if it made sense to invite one of the incoming VIH guys on the board, to sit on the board. And what do you guys think about that? Dave Cookerhead.
I think we go through our process that we've already moved forward with, and we have the vote on next week as intended. And then once all of the dust settles in terms of who's coming over and who's not coming over, and where they're, whether they're going to be a regular person at our meetings or come once every 6 weeks, we'll know what the status is, and then we can see if it makes sense for it to bring anybody into, because we can always expand our number of members at large without any challenge.
I
But
agree.
I don't think that's something we should do today.
I agree.
John
Yeah,
Wellman?
I agree too, that we should get the transition done first, and then we find out, however, who or how many of the guys would be interested in becoming board members. And I think that our only choice would be to add a member at large,
Yeah.
a voting
That's right.
a voting position, right?
Dave,
Yeah.
John Wellness.
So my view of what Mark Torrance said was it's a disenfranchisement kind of thing. And I think that as a board, I would like to, and I will make a motion later, to establish an at-large board position, which we can always take away, to invite any former VIH member to join that. I think that it's important for us as an entity to consider guys who have seen something happen to their chapter that they never envisioned would happen and are feeling disenfranchised. And I want to move as quickly as possible to include them in our family.
If I understood that correctly, John, what you're suggesting is that we vote to establish a third member at large position. And then once the dust settles on who's here and who isn't here, then we can find out who might want to be from the incoming VIH members who might want to assume that position. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's correct.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Because I think, to me, his comment really was we got together
It should be.
and we're feeling left out and we don't want to be left out. And I get that, FOMO, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and I want to address that as quickly as we can.
I think that's a great idea. And then Dana, we could send a message to everybody, to Greg and his team, saying that this has been established. There's a position there. Once all of the transfers, et cetera, are settled, we can identify someone from the incoming group who wishes to assume that position.
Fine, I'll make that happen.
Is this a motion, John? Was that a motion?
I think it probably is. Yeah, I think it is. I think we'd have to, as a board, establish a new position. You know, go
I
ahead.
don't-
You don't agree with that? Okay.
I don't think we need to establish, I mean, we can always, the nominating committee in the past has nominated 3 members at large.
Okay.
But we're not going to do that for the election this next Thursday, Dave.
No,
No, but is this a motion? Do we want to make a motion to establish this position?
To have a 3rd member at large position. I'm just going to suggest that it'll be to make it an official act of the board to establish a position that could be filled by an incoming member from the other chapter is a good political statement.
it's good.
It will
Yeah.
also allow us to move quickly.
Yeah, we
That's
can do
true.
that.
Should we need to appoint someone?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so we need a second. We have a motion, so we just need a second, huh?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Okay, that's passed.
Can I raise
Yeah,
a quick item?
Elliot,
This involves Matt. We
Oh,
just
pick
talked-
on Matt Day. Yay.
We just talked about Matt as a member, which is how I picture him as well. But if I look at Groupenizer and everything,
I think I'm still officially a candidate.
right, so this would be an opportunity for the board.
Oh, so we have an action to take on, to do? Okay.
We can fix that, Matt.
Okay.
Well, he's
Matt
been
was
around
simply
and
a
he's coming
candidate.
and he's committed. So, Elliot, do you have a motion as VP
I
of
move
Chapter
to-
Development?
Assuming Matt wants to become a member, do you, Matt?
Well, don't ask him. He's, yeah, go ahead, ask him.
You, Pam.
No, actually, I changed
Yeah,
my
so
mind.
I move to make Matt a member of the Peninsulaires.
I second it.
any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Yay.
Done,
Welcome, Matt.
official. Woo!
All
Welcome,
right.
Matt.
Thank God, that's done. Nice.
Updating Groupenizer as we speak.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, I sung with VIH for all these years, but then, when we moved to Virginia, I was, singing with the group over here, but then kind of not really singing in VIH or really any group in California. And then, of course, the virus came. We're all kind of shut out for a while, but now kind of coming back and rediscovering sort of Peninsulaires in California. And kind of sort of joining Peninsulaires almost independently, but then as a former VIH member, but kind of straddling both sides. Now it's like, officially becoming Peninsulaires.
So
Yeah,
as far as
that's very cool.
BHS is concerned right now, are you a BHS member and do you have an affiliation?
I do, yeah. So I'm a Bay Area chapter and actually a joint chapter here in the Loudoun County, Virginia.
Okay, so I guess we would need to.
You guys work out the details of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess I would have to I should transfer from the, to Peninsulaires, however the process is, I guess.
Yeah, so I can work that out with you offline and make sure
Okay.
that we make that happen.
Yeah, make sure that, yeah, we follow the proper due process for that.
Okay,
Great.
And
And
I'm
then
looking
the,
forward to being back in California in just a few more weeks, once we
Yes.
drive cross country and get everything packed up and just kind of wrapping
That's
up
great.
here in Virginia.
I think we made a record for motions in one meeting. I've got motions.
Nice.
there you go, Paul.
Got to
Well,
keep
you
you on
get a
your
raise.
toes, Paul.
Yeah.
We'll give you a raise for recording that.
Double my pay, huh?
Double your pay, yeah. Okay, Mike Kading put out a note, which Dave Cook alluded to. I will forward that to you guys so you know what he is proposing. And then we can consider that as we move ahead. And I forgot to put in a very important part of the agenda, and that's good of the chapter.
Well, before we do that, I have an item that I'd like to bring up. I thought I had sent it an email to you, but maybe I didn't. It's a new business thing.
I didn't receive it, sorry.
Okay, then that was my oversight. So I'm wondering, we're gonna have an influx of personnel. Is this a time for us to reevaluate our uniform, our look as a chapter?
Yeah, that's something obviously that's relevant to me too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to suggest personally that the current thing with the lavender is okay. It's not the coolest look in the world. The vest we got, all that stuff is established. We have access. We know where to go. But we're going to have at this point, because Matt's going to be need to do this now too. Probably 10 guys coming in, right? And I know that there are 3 people that just got their vests and stuff over the last couple of months. Mike Oliver, Jerry, and Peter, and then Jack Hale had to get some additional stuff because his stuff got burned up in the fire. But we already had pants and shirts and stuff. The only thing he didn't have was a vest. He ordered a vest, so he doesn't have a huge investment in that. But I'm wondering, from the board perspective, if we should be looking at making an adjustment to our both our performance uniform and our more casual uniform look. Any comments on that? Larry?
My only comment would be to change the color of the shirt from a visual perspective. I like the look of the shirt, but under the lights on stage, they don't look lavender, they look white.
Right.
Paul?
Paul?
Well, I don't care for the vest because of those buttons.
Yeah. No, I agree. I understand that.
But you know,
And it's an extra cost to have to go out and buy all those buttons, and they're not always easy to get. They are often sometimes out of stock, and I can't get those things. So it has its challenges.
And then they fall apart.
And then
yeah,
they fall
You
apart.
have to glue them in, glue the stone in.
but, you know, we've been changing. I don't know. 3 or 4 times we've changed our unit. Every time we got well, I don't know if it was a new director, but we've changed our uniform a number of times. I've got
Yeah.
full uniforms. But if we could keep as much of the old uniform, well, that would be good. You know, just change the shirt and the vest. I don't know.
So the advantage to you, Paul, now that you have a quartet, is that most your other quartet members likely have this. They've been around as long as you have in the chorus, for a couple of them anyway. And so you may have access to multiple looks without having to go out and invest in a lot of stuff. And for the guy, Peter, who may not, I'm sure there are enough members who have some of the old uniforms that would fit him that you can still get more than one look without having to go out and invest in a lot of other stuff.
Well, that's what we did. We have 2 red and 2 blue vests, and we use pants. So
Yeah. But that wasn't, yeah. So this is the thing. Yeah. Elliot, what are you thinking?
Just one idea I have, and maybe it's kind of big hopes for the chorus as we grow. And, you know, when I think of like Fog City and Westminster Chorus, you know, that they often have a few different versions of the uniform on the stage at one time, like different colored shirts or vests. And I think it's kind of cool looking. And what occurred to me is if we wanted to go that route, that would be one way to let people who want to keep their lavender shirts keep them and get something else. But I'm not sure.
Something to be a little bit more individuated. Okay, so I guess so it sounds like there's an inclination in the direction of an adjustment. So that leads me to my next question on this. How formal of a look do we want for our performing on stage at either contests or, when we do a skit like we're doing on the 23rd, there's a costume that is not the formal performance costume. But then in the second half, every time we've done one of these things, we have that more performance costume, I'll go back to the vest with the tie and stuff like that. How formal of a look do we want the Peninsulaires to have when we do something? Do we want the open collared shirt with a vest or the open collared shirt with a sport coat? What do we want? Dave Morley.
I always hear a kind of an ooh and ah from the audience when we come out in the second half where we're dressed up formally. And so I kind of lean to something more formal for contests, but a lot of other courses are going informal at contests. But
Right.
I prefer something formal.
Yeah.
Okay. So does formal include a tie?
Yeah.
Does the tie be more of the bow tie or the long string tie? Okay. Okay.
But maybe just a vest, not a sport coat.
You could do that. You could either do one or the other. You could do both, but I don't know. What do guys, I'm soliciting ideas at this point because what I'm hoping to do, if we have an agreement that this makes sense, I can start doing a little bit of, spotting some possibilities and giving some suggestions. John.
Why don't we ask somebody who's a costuming company what we should wear? I mean, why don't we get somebody with some experience in costuming to suggest something to us?
You have somebody in mind?
I might. So.
Well,
but the point is that if you go to somebody who's like got a costuming website, they usually provide services like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to take their suggestions, and it may be a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worthwhile in the long run to have people know what we look like, right? We actually are, 90% of us are older white guys, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, the older white guys uniform may be different from the younger 30-ish kind of guys, even though it looks cool. But I think that, that maybe, just investigate it. I mean, there are certain costuming companies and I think that they'll provide, information as to what they think is good.
That's a good idea. And I actually have a contact there because one of the earlier, not this current iteration, but a previous iteration of our uniforms, we got through a company that's what she does. That's her business, is providing uniforms to performing groups. So so I got a couple of angles that that's a great idea, John. Thank you.
Well, will you just come up with maybe a handful, like 2 or 3 possibilities, and maybe I'll vote on it or something like that?
Something like that, I think, would be reasonable. Elliot, and then Matt, and then Harry. Go ahead, Elliot.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, I think that's a great idea, but I'm just wondering whether we should try to be unified on the general parameters. Like, are we looking for formal or not formal? We've heard one view on that. Like, I know that I personally, lean more toward the not formal. So, and I'm willing to go, whichever way.
I think part of it's going to depend on the colors and what it might look like. So as part of these options, we can maybe have a couple of different looks and colors within a look. Matt?
Sure. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So back in the days of VIH, Rich Postal, he was our wardrobe chair there, and he had some deal with some wardrobe company to get all of our uniforms, and if he's might be coming on board, I think he would be a good contact for uniforms.
Cool. Thank you. I didn't know that. That's helpful. Harry?
Yeah, just think among the parameters maybe to consider is well, comfort and ease of putting it on and off, and maybe not having to fiddle with difficult buttons or a tie,
Agreed.
tie, and also what looks good under the lights, etc. And I think it may be possible to be somewhat informal but still look good, and not be or have to overly fiddle with a lot of things.
Absolutely. And the ease of access and getting in and getting out is important. One more question about this general concept. The last look that we have established with the lavender shirts, etc. When Sean was our director, his thought was make this real simple so that the shirt and the pants are the same whether you're putting the tie and the vest on or not. Prior to that, we had a completely different look of our informal versus formal. We had those, you've seen some guys with the blue shirts that have blue shirts with the khaki pants, and before, a couple of weeks ago, I wore that pullover shirt that used to be kind of beige colored and I was more white than anything else. But we've had vastly different looks between the formal and informal. And I guess my question is, do we want to go down the path of something, the same attire the same shirt and pants that could fit either formal or informal? Or do we want a completely different look for informal than formal? Larry?
I prefer the classic all unified look for performance and contests.
Mhm.
I enjoy watching some of the younger choruses in their miscellaneous look kind of thing, but some of it to me what comes to mind is branding. What are we delivering music wise? What are we delivering performance wise? If we're doing a theme, then a certain costume is appropriate. If we're just coming out as a 70 plus, a potential 70 plus scoring chorus, maybe our formal look for contest, especially not so much for shows, but for contest, I would prefer to go with a formal look.
Yeah.
A note regarding the change of shirt and pants. Remember that the informal issue, a real big issue was the fact that we did not all have the same shade of khaki pants.
Right.
So my thought then, and it still stands today, is if we go formal, I would prefer that we go back to the formal tuxedo type pants and the nice patent leather shoes that we used to wear. Because that does, most of the look
super sharp
from the waist up, but from the waist down, it's kind of been a ragtag thing.
Right.
Shoes are different. The pants, they're black construction type pants, which look fine casually, but I don't think they pop on stage. So,
I get that. So let me just take that one step further and ask, in terms of the informal uniform, like what we would sing if we're going to something, we're going to perform at a holiday party or something like that, or a picnic, or anything that wouldn't mandate the formal attire. Should the informal attire be a vastly different look, or do you want the same shirt and pants?
I'd be fine with a different look.
Okay, thank you. Paul, you were next.
For the informal, how about if we have a Peninsulaires t-shirt. If we all, this would be an easy, no.
Well, we do. You're absolutely right. We do. We have this logo is able to be put on anything. And we have the company through whom we acquired the t-shirts, the caps, and the existing lavender shirts that have the logo. So we can get a polo shirt or a casual shirt that's a different color through that environment. So that standpoint is, it's easy to do, but I understand what you're saying, Paul, and I don't disagree.
And I just want to clarify something for those that weren't here or don't remember. When I proposed the t-shirt hat thing, I proposed it as a marketing tool. The chorus didn't make any money on it. It was, if you want a hat, this is what it costs you. If you want a t-shirt, this is what it'll cost you. There were only, but 30, not even 20, it might have been 20 guys that purchased those hats and t-shirts. And to add to that, it's the older logo. Not to say that I can't go back to that same company and order new hats or shirts of whatever type with our new logo. But keep in mind, that was not a uniform of any kind. It was just a marketing tool. I thought maybe we could sell these at shows, but it didn't develop.
But it could be a uniform, is what I'm saying.
It could.
Even a hat and a shirt, but
Yeah. If we're going to be looking like the Village People, probably that would work.
Yeah.
Elliot.
So just one thing I think would be a good idea is to treat the, like, assuming we have a formal and casual, for lack of better names, assuming we have those, then the idea of being able to mix and match or share, we should make that, I think, at least for the first pass, we should make that a desirable as opposed to a constraint. In other words, let's see what we can come up with that we really like, and then yeah, if as part of that we can reduce costs by mixing and matching things, that's fine. But I'm not sure we should make that a constraint up front. That's all.
Okay, so I'll with this input, I'll check with the different groups that I know that we have acquired stuff from, or that could help us with a concept of a look that sells stuff to groups of performing groups like us. And then I'll check with Rich because he has connections there too. And then hope by the next, my intention is that by the next board meeting to have several different possibilities to consider. Okay, and my plan there with that is to have different kinds of look to choose from rather than the same look with slightly different colors, just to see where we think it might be able to go for us, and then to have some sort of sense from there, and then we can go from there. So thank you for indulging that, Dana. I appreciate the chance to talk that through.
Great, thank you, Dave. All right, so why don't we go into good of the chapter? I left that off the agenda, but we never want to miss that. So, well, let's start out. Bruce, you're muted. You want to unmute yourself?
Press the space bar.
I can see your lips flapping.
Press the space bar if you've got it.
I can't do it from here, I don't think so.
You're the host, so you should be able to.
Ask to unmute.
I don't think you can.
I know you can mute them.
The host
yeah.
can unmute, but they can't unmute.
Can't unmute. Oh, well.
We'll come back. We'll come back to Bruce.
There you go.
There he is.
There you go.
There he
Okay,
is.
Bruce.
Hello,
We can hear you
guys.
now.
Now we can hear you.
So what do you need?
Good
Go
of
to
the
the chapter, Bruce.
What's good that's going on in your life?
The help that I get there, giving me a seat to sit down on, and the opportunity to stay out there with the chorus and not be a burden. Does that
You're
make
not a
sense?
burden, Bruce. You're not a burden.
Yeah, we
Happy
enjoy
to
having
have
you
you
there.
there.
And you're a darn good lead vocalist. I'm glad you're in the lead section and not a tenor anymore, just to let you know.
Well, as you can tell, even in my speech, I feel entirely different than I used to. My ears picking up different sounds. So I don't have any volume. I don't have much, just want to be out there with you guys.
Well, we appreciate you being there every week because you are a positive contribution. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
But
Thank you,
don't
Bruce.
ask me to sing solo.
Okay.
I hate.
All right.
I hate those sessions. You have to be able to sing solo.
Okay. All right.
Not to
Okay.
worry. All right. So Elliot, you're next.
Yeah, so yeah, I really like this 375s. I think it's a good place to be going. So I'm really excited about the direction we're taking, both in terms of size, like increasing the size of the chorus, and our musicality and performance. So I'm in a really good place with this. Excited.
Great. Thank you, Elliot. Harry.
Yeah, well, I was at the rehearsal a couple of days ago, but I had missed a couple of rehearsals prior to that because of other commitments, and I was out of town for a week. And with the first note, the difference in the sound was obvious with all the additional voices, and it sounded wonderful. So I'm really excited about that too, and about the direction the choir is going.
Thank you, Harry. Dave Cokerhook.
So I had two thoughts. First is at the rehearsal on Thursday in the second half, when we were doing the run through of the show, I was extremely pleasantly surprised by how solid that performing ensemble sounded on those first half songs. I'm Gonna Live Till I Die, Georgia on My Mind, Only You, etc. It was further developed from a musicality perspective than I had expected, and that was thrilling. And the second point is that I think most of you guys know that I was probably one of the more cautious individuals with respect to the conversation about the integration or the assimilation of members from VIH coming into the Peninsulaires, and I am very pleased that this is progressing as smoothly as it is, with a highly positive and structure. I think it's going to be interesting. My one observation is that riser discipline was not anywhere near as solid in VIH as it is in the Peninsulaires, and we have to educate a few people in that regard. But I think that that it is definitely a much more positive move for us than I had thought that it could be. So for that, I am very happy, and I think that's a great thing for the chapter.
Thank you, Dave. Matt.
Yeah, so for me, I'm really excited about this whole merger with VIH and, getting like 10 more guys on the risers, like basically overnight. And yeah, coming back from Virginia, it was great to be able to hear such a full sound, 40 guys on the risers and singing some of this repertoire. Like it's something I feel like I really missed. And, I was with VIH, during the years it was kind of dwindling, and it seems like each week it was like getting to be one or two less people, but now it's like, it's been so great to be able to be singing again. And yeah, I'm a little bummed, I'm out of town for the show, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to being back in November. And yeah, and this whole 75 vision actually sounds really cool, getting 75 guys in the risers and 75th anniversary. Yeah, score 75. I think that would be really cool. I'm excited.
Thank you, Matt. We're glad to have you coming back.
Yeah. exciting.
John,
Yeah, I'm just excited about, meeting new people and singing with new people. It's my love to see new faces, love to sing songs with new people, and so that to me is a great thing. That's it.
thank you, John. Paul,
Oh, yeah, I'll add to the VIH thing. It's wonderful seeing some old faces. I mean, Chuck Mullet and
Mhm.
Mark Torrance is so nice to see him again, you know. And Chris, their director is just he's really good. I mean, it's really nice to work with him, and so I'm looking forward to it, and just to change. It's such a sudden change, but it's such a it's so dramatic. It's just it's really something. So anyway, that's what I have to say.
thanks, Paul. Dave Morley,
I second everything that everybody said. It's fun to sing with a bigger group. And I also second Dave's comment about riser discipline. We need to train some people as to when to talk and when not to talk.
thank you, Dave. Larry,
I third and fourth and fifth the motion. Having these guys join us and add to it the ensemble has really been amazing. Not that they're that much better singers than we are, but just having that many more voices is adding to the presence and the overall feel. And that overall feel comes home with me on Thursday nights. I'm looking forward to the day that we don't have to, that we can stop calling them the VIH guys. Because they're going to be Peninsulaires in a matter of weeks. So nothing against VIH, but we don't need to call them the VIH guys anymore, do we?
all right.
Soon, very soon. We won't
Very
need
soon.
to. They still identify themselves that way. For the
So
moment.
they got to burn their shirts and
That's
badges.
right.
We have to get them new
Yeah.
shirts and new badges and
There you go.
okay, and run them all through the spanking machine.
I like it.
Okay, fun stuff.
Thank you, Larry. Well, for me, I'm so energized.
What about Harry?
But where's Harry? He already.
Did
Oh,
Harry
he
say already?
Harry?
Oh, he did.
Yes,
That's
I
right.
did.
I thought he
He
did.
did.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I was excited about all the new voices.
That's right.
That's great. Well, I am too, in fact, and I'm so appreciative of all you guys sticking with me on the board here and all the work and overtime. Larry, broken foot, coming in early, setting up, fantastic. Dave, all the extra work that you put in each week too, it's just great appreciated. Elliot, everybody. And so I'm just so thankful for you guys, and I'm really energized by adding these new guys, new Peninsulaires to our chorus. And Matthew, you had something.
Yeah, so with all these new people joining, are we going to have name badges, like official name tag? So I think that would be really
We can
nice.
get those.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, our
Order
secretary
the
can
VIH.
take care of that for you.
Order them up. As soon as we know the names, officially, Paul, that makes sense. As soon as we officially know who's transferring, we can order name badges for them from BEHS.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
I
because
did
that was
that
something that
before.
VIH.
I'll just have to figure out how I did it.
Yeah, because that was something that VIH took pride in. They had really nice
But
spiffy
it'll
name
be the
tags.
same badge, just our badge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name badge.
Yeah. So I have, before we all go away, Dana, you can close the meeting. I have a question. It's not pertaining to but it's something that I need a piece of information and somebody might have.
I
But
will
you can close
close
the meeting
the
first.
recording right now.